Now for our story.
Randy! Oh, Randy!
Hi, Peggy.
Where are you?
Over here.
Oh,
Over.
okay. Hi, Randy.
Well, say, what's all the excitement?
Nothing.
Nothing. You guys, I thought the house was on fire or something.
Whatever made you think that?
Oh, well, you came tearing out here. You act as if the hound of the Baskervilles was at your heels.
Maybe it was just the hounds of spring. Oh, I don't know. All of a sudden, I felt like talking to you, that's all.
Well, I'll be darned. Girls.
Peggy Douglas smiled at her cousin brightly as she plumped herself down on the wheelbarrow which stood at the end of the plot of ground in which Randy was working, carefully scooping out a shallow trench in the smooth dirt he prepared for a kitchen garden. She watched him in silence for a while before she said,
Where did everybody go? I thought Lily was out here a while ago.
She was.
Well, where'd she go? I was upstairs, and when I came down, nobody was around.
Oh, well, Aunt Mary took them out for a drive.
Oh.
Dell wanted some of that sausage old Mrs. Stanton makes, so they decided to drive over and get some. Lily's never seen much of this country around here, so she went for the ride.
Oh. I guess Lily's never seen much of any kind of country, as far as that goes.
Yeah, that's what I gather. You stayed with her quite a while you were in Chicago, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
How'd it work out?
Work out? How do you mean, Randy?
Well, did you get along okay?
Why, yes.
I don't imagine she'd be exactly a calming influence as a roommate.
Lily surprises you. She's not quite the way you expect when you get to know her well.
Oh? How come?
Only, on the surface, Lily's so glib. Appears to be awfully sure of herself and all that.
Yeah? Go on.
But when you get to know her, you find out she's not like that, really.
No?
Well, that is, she is sure of herself, all right. She knows how to get along and take care of herself. Well, after all, she's been on her own since she was just a youngster. But even so...
You seem to be having a hard time saying what you mean.
I know I am. I think the reason is I've always accepted Lily according to what I know of her. I never stopped to think how she looked to other people.
Well, maybe I can help you out, Peg. You're trying to say that Lily seems to be rather hard-boiled, even cold, but that really she's a warm, sensitive person. Is that it?
Yes, Randy, that's it. I don't know why it was so hard for me to explain. Maybe I'm getting to be sort of dumb in my old age.
Oh, don't worry about it. You're okay. Was Lily working for Dell when you first knew her?
No, she was working at a much smaller place. A little on the cheap side, I guess. Lily's told me something about the work she did there. I think it's wonderful that she's working for Dell now.
Mm-hmm. Well, what kind of an act does she do at Dell's?
Oh, sort of a specialty thing. She does a Spanish dance, I think. At least she used to. And then she sings a little.
How does she go over? Does the crowd like her?
Oh, they're crazy about her. Lily has a lot of personality, you know. Besides, she's awfully good looking. Or, maybe you don't think so?
Oh, sure. I think she's very attractive.
Oh. Well, you never know. I've noticed that women and men hardly ever agree about who's pretty and who isn't. I think Lily's glamorous.
Glamorous?
Yes, what's the matter?
Well, I don't think I'd use quite that word to describe her.
Well, how would you describe Lily then, Randy?
How would I describe her?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. That bears a little thinking about.
Well, while you're thinking, why don't you come over and sit here by me? You're due for a rest anyway.
Okay. Oh, feels good to relax for a minute. I see now. Where were we?
You were going to give me your impression of Lily.
Oh, yeah. Well, Peggy, I'd say she's the kind of a girl you could take on a camping trip who wouldn't kick sand in the fire.
Oh, Randy, you're crazy. What difference...
No, that's not quite accurate. I guess I should say you wouldn't mind if she did. No, she's the kind of girl who'd know when to be silent But if you wanted to talk, she'd have something to say. Naturally, she'd be good in the kitchen. But if you wanted to get dressed up and go out somewhere, you'd be darn proud to have her arm through yours. And everybody turned to look at her, too.
Why, Randy.
And in an emergency, she wouldn't lose her head. She'd be calm. She'd know what you wanted without asking thousands of questions. And she'd probably work right along with you.
Go on, Randy.
Well, she'd like simple, real things. The way the fields look in the morning when the sun's coming up. The way the dew sparkles. And going fishing and the smell of wood smoke. She'd be a good driver. Even be able to change a tire in a pinch. She'd be interested in people. Like to help them if she could. Generous. Honest. Very smart.
Are you still talking about Lily?
Oh, well, sure. Wasn't that the idea?
Yes.
Now, what's the matter?
Nothing.
Has Lily ever been married?
No.
I wonder why.
Well, maybe she never found a man she wanted to marry.
Yeah, that's usually the reason, I admit. But still, a girl as good-looking as she is appealing. It's odd.
Well, I'm sure it isn't that she lacked for opportunity.
Oh, no, I suppose not.
In fact, I know very well that's not the reason. Lily's always been very popular with men.
She has?
Naturally. As you just said, she's just the kind of girl who attracts men. I won't say I ever thought of her as the kind of girl you just described. I mean, I never would have thought of her as being quite that wonderful. But she's awfully sweet just the same.
Did I make her sound wonderful?
You did to me.
Maybe she is. You were saying about why she never married.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't know. Lily's had plenty of experience, I guess. After all, she didn't have a very sheltered life.
No, I imagine not.
So naturally, I guess she learned her way around, so far as men are concerned. There used to be lots of men phoning her. They always wanted to stay after the show and talk to her, too. Sometimes she wouldn't get home until awfully late. But Lily wouldn't...
Peggy Douglas broke off in the middle of a sentence, for she had noticed a very odd expression on her cousin's face. He wasn't listening to her anymore. Instead, he was thinking...
It's only natural that a girl like Lily would have been around quite a lot. She's not like Peggy, sheltered and protected when she was a kid. Men would be bound to go for her. She's got everything it takes to interest them. After all, she may be just a few years older than Peggy is, but... Well, the kind of life she's had would make her grow up a lot faster. I don't know why I'm so concerned about it anyway. It's none of my darn business what she's done. Never even met her until yesterday. I know what the score is. I've been around plenty myself these last 3 or 4 years. What do I care what Lily Devon's done? Of course, I do wish she'd had a different sort of life. Hate to think of her getting kicked around, knowing the kind of guy she must have known. Oh, yeah, it has nothing to do with me. Nothing at all.
Although Randy Lane honestly believed that what Lily Devon had or had not done in her life was none of his concern, he had no idea how his unconscious feeling toward her, his feeling of possessiveness, the beginnings of a deep tenderness, had already begun to assert themselves. But Peggy, his young cousin, had noticed that his interest in her friend from Chicago was far more than a casual one.